T.I. walked out of federal prison in October 2025 with what looked like a reset button on his life.
Poo Shiesty's daddy been a rat since '09 and his son a mice since 2022.
New music on the way, fresh momentum, real money back in motion. The kind of second chance most artists never get twice. For a moment, it felt like the story was turning around. And then, just months later, the FBI kicked the door in. Not just for him, for his father too. And what came out in those federal court documents, especially what his own father allegedly said and did, is the kind of detail that doesn't just add to a case, it flips the entire narrative upside down.
Well, I can tell you this was disguised as a traditional business meeting inside a recording studio, but then it turned into an ambush.
But before we even get to that, before you can understand why the internet lit up overnight, before you can process how a rapper who had everything lined up ended up right back in federal custody?
This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas.
Before you can make sense of how this turned into one of the most shocking federal cases in recent hip-hop memory, we need to rewind. Because this wasn't random. This wasn't emotions boiling over in the heat of the moment. This wasn't a late-night argument that spiraled out of control.
As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol.
This wasn't wrong place, wrong time. According to federal prosecutors, this was planned, carefully, deliberately, step by step. 9 people, multiple cities, one target, and a meeting that was never meant to be a real meeting.
And forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint.
So let's go back to January 10th, 2026. That's where everything begins. That afternoon, 3 music industry professionals boarded a flight to Dallas, Texas. Nothing unusual, no red flags, just business. They packed bags, booked tickets, and flew in like professionals do every single day when there's money to discuss and deals to negotiate.
Feds say the group robbed the victims of expensive jewelry and cash.
Because as far as they knew, that's exactly what this was. A sit-down, a contract conversation, a routine meeting in an industry built on meetings. One of those 3 men was identified in federal paperwork only as RD. But reporting quickly confirmed what everyone already suspected. That was Roderick DeLon Davis, better known to the world as Gucci Mane, a man who didn't just participate in the culture, he helped build it. The architect behind 1017 Records, the one who turned raw talent into real stars.
One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness.
The one who saw potential in a young rapper from Memphis and decided to invest in him early. That artist? The same one who arranged this meeting. T.I. had been signed to 1017 since around 2021. He had hits, he had a fan base, he had a name that still carried weight. And even after prison, there was still a lane open for him. People were watching, waiting.
The ringleader of the conspiracy, Lontrell Williams Jr., was on home confinement at the time of the offense.
Curious to see what he would do with that second chance. But behind the scenes, things weren't right. He wasn't happy with his contract. And whatever that dispute was, however long it had been building,
as alleged for a prior firearms conspiracy charge and conviction out of the Southern District of Florida.
Federal prosecutors say it didn't just stay business. They claim it escalated into something far more serious. One of the most organized and brazen armed setups the hip-hop industry has seen in years. That afternoon, the 3 men arrived at a studio off Dallas Parkway. The building wasn't open yet, so they did what anyone would do. They stepped out, grabbed some liquor, came back, and waited.
Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr.
Relaxed, comfortable, no pressure. They were businessmen in Dallas for a business meeting. No paranoia, no reason to suspect anything. No idea what was already in motion behind the scenes. Because by 3:43 p.m.,
at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions,
everything was about to change. Completely. What they thought was a meeting was already something else. An ambush. He had the ankle monitor on during the robbery. Sit with that for a second.
Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location.
Because this isn't someone who didn't understand the system. This is a man who already did federal time. A man who sat inside those walls surrounded by people who went down on far less evidence. A man who knows exactly how the federal government builds cases. And according to prosecutors, his response to all of that experience,
oh my God, they basically said it had the ankle monitor on at the robbery,
was to allegedly walk into a kidnapping and armed robbery while a government GPS tracker was strapped to his ankle, broadcasting his location in real time. But that ankle monitor, that was just the beginning, because the evidence in this case doesn't come in pieces. It comes in layers, stacked, documented.
Car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group.
Timestamped, cell phone records, license plate readers, travel data. Federal investigators were able to track movements from Memphis to Dallas, who was traveling, when they left, the exact routes they took, every tower ping, every highway camera, every plate scan. This wasn't guesswork.
Social media posts by defendants displaying what appears to be stolen property just in the days following the offense.
This was a digital trail from start to finish. And then there's the detail that pushes this even further. The vehicle. That white Buick Enclave used for the trip, it wasn't random. It was rented. And according to the complaint, it was rented by his own father, Trell Williams Sr.
Greyhound bus records confirming the travel of multiple defendants from Dallas to Memphis the day after the offense.
His name on the agreement through Hertz. That's not presence, that's preparation. That's logistics being handled before the crime even begins. Because this wasn't a situation where people just ended up there. This was organized travel across state lines with a plan already in motion.
It sounds like Gucci cooperated. It sounds like the victim. Gucci was a victim and gave his testimony.
Then comes the cameras. The studio had surveillance. A nearby Staples store had surveillance. The hotel where some of the defendants stayed after the robbery also had surveillance. 3 separate locations, multiple angles, every movement captured. And now sitting inside a federal case file, every second of it analyzed. And then, the part you can't argue with.
Hey man, sometimes some of you Negroes do not deserve money and fame.
Fingerprints, recovered inside the studio, matched to multiple defendants. Physical evidence, not speculation, not testimony, not opinion.
That young came home, bro, and did NBA YoungBoy numbers.
Something was touched, and it tied specific people directly to that room. But it doesn't stop there. Because after everything that allegedly happened, they went online, within hours, posting the stolen jewelry.
The song he put out, they said he was gonna flop. They went to the top.
The watches, the items taken during the robbery, on their own social media accounts, with their own names attached. Screenshots of those posts are now evidence. They didn't hide it, they documented it, and handed it straight to federal prosecutors.
He had all the cars, the lifestyle, everything he dreamed of having. But he didn't change his mindset.
And then, the exit. They didn't disappear. They didn't vanish. They took a Greyhound bus from Dallas back to Memphis. Tickets purchased, records stored, subpoenaed, and added to the case.
Boy, don't one of them did some stupid. Cause him go back to jail.
This entire situation was built on evidence that, step by step, they essentially created themselves. And that's when the conversation online started shifting. Because once all of this came out, people started asking one question: who told?
Shiesty's daddy been a rat since '09, and his son a mice since 2022.
In hip-hop, that question always points in one direction first. But here's the reality. One of the victims, the primary victim, identified everyone involved by name, by face, by their verified social media accounts. That's not snitching. That's what happens when someone puts a weapon to your head and takes everything from you.
The way Gucci came home and that motivated me too, because You know, I took notes from them.
But the internet doesn't always separate legal reality from street narratives. And that's where things got louder, because speculation turned into accusations, and accusations turned into something bigger. That's when WAC 100 stepped in.
He switched it up, how he toned up, you know, got fit, got his mind healthy, like, took notes in there.
He called into a live stream hosted by DJ Academics with over 15,000 people watching in real time. And he claimed he had been holding on to something for over a year.
Then he dropped it. Alleged paperwork. A federal plea agreement from 2009.
He had all the cars, the lifestyle, everything he dreamed of having. But he didn't change his mindset.
Documents that he claimed showed that the father, Trell Williams Sr., had cooperated with the federal government under a 5K 1.1 deal. The kind of paperwork that, in the streets, carries one label. And then he took it even further.
Pride and ego is our main enemy.
He alleged that cooperation didn't stop there, that it extended forward, that it reached into more recent cases. And within hours, those claims were everywhere. Clips spreading across Instagram, YouTube, X, everybody reacting. But this is where things have to be separated, because not everything loud is verified. These claims, they've been made before, multiple times, and every single time, they've been denied, publicly, directly. Attorneys have called them false, a complete misrepresentation, no cooperation, no deals, no information exchanged. And as of now, no major outlet has independently confirmed those documents. No AP, no Rolling Stone, no XXL. So as explosive as those claims are, they remain allegations, unverified. But even if you remove all of that noise, there's still one detail in this story that hits harder than anything else. Because when he first came home, he spoke about Gucci Mane. He talked about his transformation, about discipline, about growth, about staying out of trouble. He called Gucci a blueprint, a real example of how to come out of prison and actually change your life. He said it inspired him, said he was gonna move different, said it stuck. And then, just months later, according to prosecutors, he allegedly walked into a studio and pointed a weapon at that same man over a contract. You couldn't script that.
It's too perfect, too tragic, too real. Now, here's where everything stands. This case is still early. No trial yet, no final outcome. Everyone involved is legally presumed innocent. That matters. But the evidence already listed, it's heavy. Ankle monitor data, phone records, travel logs, rental agreements, surveillance footage, fingerprints, social media posts, bus records, victim identifications. All of it in one case. And according to federal prosecutors, each defendant could be facing life in prison. And for him, it's even heavier, because this allegedly happened while he was still under federal supervision, months away from full freedom. No monitor, no restrictions, no oversight. All he had to do was wait. Instead, according to the case, he walked right back into the system. And this time, he didn't walk in alone. His father was right beside him. And now both of them are sitting in federal custody, waiting for what comes next.